G'day folks, and welcome to episode 4 of Great Tech New Horizons. So we start off in the magic area, and today we're just going to do a little bit of Thaumcraft wand progression, because I would like to upgrade the Formanite-based amber wand that I've got. I use this for dislocating crops when I'm breeding IC2 crops. I should look at using the IC2 crop bot, but as far as I'm aware, that's not any good for crops that have a growth of 24 or greater, because those crops behave as weeds. And they will basically destroy neighboring crops, so the crop bot won't be able to breed those. There's not many crops that I breed perfect stats on, but the next crop I want to breed is Transformium, and that is quite a slow growing crop. So I want to breed it as a 31-31, and then put it on a rather large field with fertilizer and hydration. So to that end, what I would like to do is upgrade this to a Amber Scepter. So as far as I'm aware, I should be able to upgrade this to an Amber Scepter, which will give it 37 capacity instead of... sorry, not Scepter, Staff. I want to upgrade this to an Amber Staff, which should give it 37 capacity instead of 10. It should still auto-recharge, as far as I'm aware. And also, I don't know if you get a higher V discount on a Staff or not, but even if I get the same V discount, just having the higher capacity will be useful. I already have Frugal 5 on the dislocation focus that's attached to this, but yeah, if we can squeeze a bit more out, that would be good at the very least. So then I can keep wearing the jetpack when I'm relocating lots of crops. I tend to have to switch out to the Bewitched gear, but I would like to keep the jetpack on, especially because I'm in a void and I have nearly jumped into it several times, forgetting that I don't have the jetpack on. So it looks like the next step in progress. So I'm at the Gold Banded Transmutative Scepter. Thaumcraft 1 progression is a bit of a tangled mess. I'm not a huge fan of the wand progression. I don't know what it's like in other packs. I've not used Thaumcraft in other packs, so I don't know if it's a Thaumcraft thing or a GTNH thing. But I'm not a huge fan of basically crafting a wand, craft another wand, which is sort of the wand progression at a high level. But I do quite like Thaumcraft as a whole. I found it quite a nice experience. There's some very interesting mechanics, like the infusion mechanic, which we're going to use very shortly. And there's also, and it's also, it's a pretty decently cohesive experience. And GTNH has a lot of has a lot of the Thaumcraft add-ons installed, such as Formic Exploration, Formic Energistics, etc. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to craft these inert Formium caps. So we're going to go to the Formium Banded Transmutative Scepter, and that will get us a additional 10% crafting discount. So the gold caps don't get you a discount; they just basically make it cost neutral. Copper and iron, which come before gold, they actually increase the cost. So iron is 110% cost, for example. I will. So we're going to craft these, and then these have to actually be charged in the infusion altar. So we're gonna get to see that in action in a minute. The infusion altar is I actually quite like the mechanic behind it, and also it's just, I actually really like the sort of visual aspect to it as well. It's actually quite nice. So we'll get to that in a second. I'm just going to empty my inventory here a bit. So I did have a bit of a miscalculation. I thought I could go to Silverwood, but it turns out I can't. So we need to just get this stuff off of here. And then we should be good. Yeah, nothing on there. I don't think. No, there's nothing on there. So now we can... so I guess just a bit of an overview of the magic setup that I have. Basically, I copied this infusion setup off the wiki, so I have all the jars surrounding the infusion altar with a big pipe network. In retrospect, I wouldn't do this again. It's very slow. Yes, it works, but it is quite slow. But it served me well so far. And then I have my formatarium for the basic crafts, and the alchemical furnace for burning items to get essentia to put into the jars. Basically, Thaumcraft crafting is broken down into two types. It's either essentia crafting, like the infusion altar or the formatarium, or it's V crafting, like the arcane work table, where it takes V from wands to craft items. I would like to give a bit more of a in-depth into the sort of earlier game Thaumcraft stuff, but because I started recording this from where I did, I can't really sort of do that, but I will link a couple of videos in this video's description from Carex82 and from Threefold, from their respective GTNH series, where they have videos where they start Thaumcraft from scratch. But basically, where we are now, we are sort of this is I think like the third wand or in the progression. So we just need to get this upgraded, and then after that we'll be able to craft more advanced wands. If I look at the amber, where is it? Amber. So the amber staff core, I would ideally like the void aspected amber staff. So I may actually be able to craft that by just having the formium banded transmutative scepter. So what we're going to do is I'll go away and get the other bits for doing this, which is just formium dust and salus mundus. So I'll quickly go away and get these, and we'll come back and I'll show you the infusion altar. And we're back. So I should have all the bits I need to do this. So the infusion crafting recipes, basically the item you want to infuse is the one in the center. The resulting item is the one at the top here. And basically, these are the items you have to put on the pedestals around the altar. So, if we put that in the center, and then we need, it's basically 3 formium dust, so 1, 2, and 3, and 3 salus mundus per 1, 2, and 3. Now, you can check the stability of the craft with the arcane abacus from witching gadgets. And as you see, it's not complaining about any instability. So the stability is 17, and the instability generated by this recipe is 5. So really, as long as the stability is higher than the instability, you're generally fine. The things that boost stability are blocks around the altar. So these candles, so these candles, the skeleton skulls, and the quicksilver blocks, and the gold edged obsidian. Now, I am actually missing some candles and skulls because I had a instability boo-boo earlier, which caused some flux gas to be released, which basically destroyed those blocks, unfortunately. Now, I think the problem is I don't have any, because I should really have, if we just do you and you, And basically, if I click on this now, the setup has to be symmetrical. So here it is complaining that there are stabilizers on the other side, the two zombie heads I put down, that don't have a symmetrical partner on this side. But if I do that, then we're back to normal. And it will do the same for items as well. So if I take you off and then I do that, it will complain that the pedestal that the pedestal layout is not symmetrical. So it doesn't matter how you lay these out in terms of, you don't have to lay them out in this sort of way around the altar. It's just however you lay them out, they have to be symmetrical. So I've got 3 Salus Mundus dust here, and then 3 Formium dust here. So now I just need to check that we have, and then I just need to check we have the Essentia. So what will happen is infusion altars need items, which we've given it, and they also need Essentia, as stated at the bottom of the recipe. So it needs 25 Precontatio, assuming I've pronounced that right, we're just going to call it the purple one. It needs 25 Aurum and 40 Potentia. So we definitely have enough of the purple one. We definitely have enough Potentia, and where is Aurum? And we definitely have enough Aurum. So I should be able to whack this with the wand, and what it will do now is, and this is the cool bit, this is why I think this is such an awesome block, so it's going to draw the Essentia in from the jars, and once it's drawn all the different types of Essentia in it needs, it will then draw the items in. So I will just pause for a minute, because this will take a little while to draw all this Essentia in, and we'll come back when the craft's nearly finished. Right, so just a couple of minutes later, it's now pulling in the items. So it will pull the items off the pedestal one by one, and then when it's finished, we will end up with a charged Formium cap. And there we go. So if I take that, we now have a charged Formium cap. So I just need to go craft 2 more of these, and then we'll be back. Right, so we have our 3 charged caps now. What we need next is a transmutative rod. So that's basically another infusion recipe, and it'll be a great wood rod with a piece of Salus Mundus dust, and then a crystal cluster for each primal element. So air, fire, water, earth, order, and entropy. And then a mixed crystal cluster, which is basically 3 balance shards, and then all of them. So we'll quickly get that crafted. I actually think I might have everything already. So mixed. From when I was planning to make my silverwood wand. So we might actually be good already. One thing I'll point out is make sure you have enough Essentia in your nearby jars before you start the infusion, because otherwise it will increase the if it can't find the Essentia it needs within range, the stability will slowly tick up, and eventually what you will eventually end up with is flux goo, which will destroy, for example, the stabilizers, and it will also randomly destroy items on the pedestals as well, I believe, or at the very least pop them off the pedestal, and then obviously if you don't notice, then if you're away from it, they could despawn. So I just need to go get some Salus Mundus dust, and then we'll kick that off. The other thing I would highly recommend is the nanosuit that you can get. So the nanosuit boots of the Traveler, for example, is an infusion recipe. So you can, although yes, you can do the nanosuit boots, but I believe if you want the sort of speed boost, then you need to do the nanosuit boots of the Traveler. But I could be wrong. The goggles of revealing as well. Yeah, these is also magic. So the you don't need it for the jetpack, but I'd highly recommend having a dabble in a little bit of the magic stuff. You don't have to progress very far in Thaumcraft to get some good quality of life stuff. I believe if you want to go all the way to gate, then I think you have to do, or even some of the really late game stuff, then I think magic becomes a bit more mandatory. But in the early game, it's not necessarily mandatory as far as I'm aware, or at least as far as I've seen. But it can bring some very useful quality of life stuff, such as the Formic Restorer, which can repair a lot of tools. The biggest use for this is because you can't repair Tinkers or GregTech tools with it, I don't think. But the best use for this that I've used so far is I use it to repair the chase on the printing press that I use to print my Fortune 3 books that are used to enchant loot bags. So basically, you just make one chase, which costs 40 levels of XP, and then after that, you can just keep repairing it in the Formic Restorer. And all it needs is Instrumentum. And a good way to get Instrumentum is just from these rubber rounds, which are made in the lathe by running rubber chips through the lathe, which are basically just rubber nuggets. So yeah, so there is some good stuff in the magic. I haven't progressed a huge amount into it, but there is some good stuff in the magic side of things. So I do highly encourage you to at least take a gander at it and see. But anyway, I'm gonna go get this rod crafted, and then we'll be back. And we're back. So I've got everything I need for the Formium Boss Transmutative Scepter. So in theory... Oh, don't tell me we can't craft this either, or am I just missing something? So it's two lich bones, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then it's the transmutative rod, and that. And apparently I can't craft that because I need... Oh, hang on. Oh, no. It's... Oh, I was about to get very upset then. But no, it's just because I don't have the... There we go. And... There we go. We now have a... And now the V cost is 60%, is 61% instead of 71% when we craft stuff. So if we charge this up... this will take a little while. I am going to do an energized node. So then I can put a charging... I can't remember what they're called, but there's a block that you can put on top of the arcane work table to charge whatever wand is in it automatically. But I don't have the... I don't have an energized node yet. My plan is to basically build a super node using... bees, using empowering bees. So this is a bright node that I'm pulling from now, and I've made it pretty big by feeding smaller nodes to it to bully. So basically what you can do is you can lay nodes around it. In this setup I can lay up to 8 around it, and it will basically bully them, steal their aspects until they're completely depleted. Out of the 2 nodes I have, so this one and that one, this is the bigger one, but this is also a bright node, so it has the fastest possible recharge rate. So the plan is I will energize this eventually to produce what's called Centiviz, which is basically used by various Thaumcraft machines, but it is also used to automatically recharge wands in the in here. The other thing is we will eventually we will move this to Formic Energistics. This is a very primitive setup. We'll move it to Formic Energistics, so it'll all be integrated into AE2, and we will also be able to use the Arcane crafting terminal, which means we'll have access to items in AE2, because at the moment I'm really having to go back and forth to my terminal to get what I need. So we, in theory, can now look at crafting the amber staff core. So so I'll go away and have a look at this and see if we can basically make the amber staff with this one. Okie dokie. So I got the amber staff core, which was just two amber rods, which were then smashed together in the arcane work table with a crystal crystal cluster of each primal type, plus a primal charm, which is more crystal clusters of each type, and a mixed. Unfortunately, I am just off being able to craft a... I'm unfortunately just off being able to craft a decent staff, unfortunately, because to get the formium caps, I need 210, which with the 61% discount I get from my new from our new scepter, our formium based scepter, I'm still just a smidge off. So what I'm likely going to have to do, I mean, I could do the charged silver, but that's not great, and I really don't want to do the gold. So, I mean, I could have done the gold without upgrading the scepter. So what I'm going to do is I am going to upgrade this scepter again, and probably off camera, just get this upgraded to something a little better. Probably try and get to a silverwood one. We'll see. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. I just wanted to show off a bit of the Thaumcraft stuff, and sort of talk about a bit of the basics and whatnot. We probably won't touch magic again until I look at moving it to the void dimension, and also look at getting it hooked up to applied energistics, because some of the crafts are insane. So one of the things that we can do, which I already have the bee to be able to do this, is you can use dragon eggs for power. So this Grandmaster Magic Energy Absorber, you shove a dragon egg on top of it, and it will produce 1 amp of EV, completely renewably. But it's extremely expensive. This is extremely expensive, and you have to craft all the tiers before it as well. You know, it needs Nether Stars, which I'm fairly sure is, it needs beacons, which is Nether Stars. So it's extremely expensive, but it's probably worth it. I have a dragon egg already from killing the Ender Dragon, but I also have the Draconic Bee, and I also unlocked the Thaumcraft research for duplicating dragon eggs, or for turning the draconic chunks that come from the bee into new dragon eggs. So my plan is probably to make a few of those magic energy absorbers at some point, just to provide base load power. Even if it just keeps AE going. I mean, there is a point in the pack where even 64 amps of EV, which is 1 amp of ZPM, I believe, or an amp of LU. No, that's an amp of LUV, I think. But either way, there's a point where even if I had 64 of the things, it would just be a drop in the ocean in terms of power consumption. But for now, they're a pretty valuable asset because to handle the passive power draw of the base, because the biggest passive power draw comes from the AE network. So yeah, I'll go off camera and get in between playing a bit of Nomi Factory, I will get this upgraded. I will probably be looking to do an episode over the weekend, which will be the long-awaited power upgrade to hopefully get us to Lapatronic Energy Orbs, and then we'll go from there. I do probably plan to have sort of maybe, I don't know what to call them yet, infrastructure videos, where they're not necessarily normal episodes. They are just focused on improving infrastructure, such as, the stuff that typically gets done behind the scenes, or some people may do it on live streams. Basically just improving infrastructure, power power spine, moving all of this, because moving all this is going to be, and moving it to formic energistics is going to be a sizable piece of work. And basically those infrastructure videos will probably be longer than the normal episode, so they'll probably be maybe capped at an hour instead of being between 30 and 40 minutes. They might be capped at like an hour or something. But I will actually note them in the video title. I'll probably call them like an infrastructure day or something like that. So then if the longer videos aren't necessarily for you, then that's fine. In terms of content covered in those videos, it'll always be recapped in the following episode. So you won't miss anything if you won't be missing out if you don't watch them. I will recap Any sort of infrastructure improvements or progress or any bits of progression that are made in those infrastructure days, I will recap in the next episode. So if you've gotten this far, then thank you very much for watching, and I hope you all have a lovely day.